So our next speaker is local. He's from McKinney, Texas. He's also a scuba diver like myself. More importantly, at age 26, he is already a veteran software development engineer of Cisco, Yahoo, Oath, and Verizon Media. Let us welcome Ian Holmes to the stage and let him tell his story of being a remote junior engineer.
Thank you. Awesome. So my talk is interactive. So if you scan the QR code, it links to my project site. And then also there's a Easter egg hidden in this talk. So if you can find it, come find me. I have a special prize. So back in 2015, I was getting ready to graduate college, and senioritis had taken full effect by my last quarter. I spent most of my time building an art installation for a music festival, and then taking a course that involved a trip to India. And so by the time that graduation actually rolled around in June, I still had one major problem on my plate. I needed a job. And so fortunately, I was in the Silicon Valley, and there were a lot of jobs available. But there were also a lot of software engineers new to those jobs, and the competition was very fierce. And so eventually I came across what looked like a good job at a large tech company located in San Jose. Now, what I found when I joined was after a little bit of ramp up from the company for getting used to company culture and such, I was thrown into the mix, asked to do tasks here and there, little bits of code, little bits of scripting. And so while the space is really set up to be, sleek and streamlined, I found that for me at least, getting integrated as a new team member, and especially as a fresh college grad, didn't really jive very, very well for me. And then I had something kind of mix up my plans a couple years in. I got engaged, and my then fiance, now wife, really wanted to get out of the Bay Area startup culture. She was getting burned out and come back home to her hometown of Dallas. And I was a bit skeptical, and so I weighed my options. On the one hand, I saw this as a chance to broaden my experience. I didn't know anybody else who had left the Bay Area so young and moved out of state. And we also would have family nearby, so if we decided to start our own family, we'd have that support network in place. But on the other hand, I had concerns. Would working remotely stunt my career growth? And was I going to find that I had more limited career opportunities down the road? I knew the terrain of the Bay Area. I didn't know what the future would look like remotely. The thing that really kind of spurred us along to make the decision to move, though, was the cost of living here versus the Bay Area, which we are able to have a lovely starter home for a mortgage that was less than what we were paying on a crappy apartment in Sunnyvale. And unfortunately, though, nobody really gave me ample warning about the Texas weather. And so if I had known better at the time, I might have given pause. But since I couldn't control that, we went ahead and made the decision to make a move here. So about 2 years back, I took a position. Oh, I missed my punchline. I needed a job again. And what I found was this time, though, I was a lot more proactive. I leveraged my network, which I had learned to do, and found a great position on the network automation team at Yahoo, which was then Oath and then Verizon Media. And so I came into this role and very quickly got ramped up again. But this time what I found is that they really made sure to give me a mentor and to give me a leg up to getting used to operating on this team. I was asked to contribute code. I was asked to really become a full-fledged team member and get to work in a way that I hadn't really had this project to come around when I was at my previous. And so Panoptes network telemetry and monitoring was that project that really spurred me along. And some of the things that I think they did really well for me and that I think could be replicated was having daily morning check-ins, which was as much about maintaining team cohesion as it was actually giving status updates, and taking advantage of actual FaceTime, whether that's in person the twice a year or so I go out to the Bay Area, or even just in the home office here where I get interactions with coworkers. Mentorship, like I mentioned, and I'll get into that more in a second too, and then adding more responsibility, really having some goals that I had to fulfill as a remote team member has helped me stay engaged. And so would working remotely stunt my career growth? If you let it. And this is where I think that it's a little bit more important. It's harder to coast when you're remote. And so my mentor, Varun, who's pictured, and this is the best picture I could find of him, really held my hand early on and then has remained accessible thereafter and has allowed me to very much flourish. And I say get to work because having that extra responsibility, you have to trust me, but just out of frame here are half a dozen senior engineers that I've been tasked with teaching to write plugins for the system that I've developed. And having that responsibility has really allowed me to continue to be engaged. So will I have more limited career opportunities? Not so far, but I recognize that I've been extremely privileged and more than a little bit lucky to have forums like this. So in conclusion, in my talk, I just want to reiterate that I think that going remote, even when early in your career, can be great so long as the company gives you the necessary growth, mentorship, and opportunities, and if the employee will put in the requisite hard work. And then if you haven't found the, the Easter egg, then I urge you to still scan this, come talk to me, and I'll let you in on the secret. And please do scan this and go check out our project. My continued success depends on it. Thank you.